Hello. Any regular or occasional viewers of my tabletop knife videos may be delighted to discover that I have just worked something out that will stop the camera from wobbling so much. See, now if I knock this here, see there's a little wobble, but it doesn't just keep on wobbling. I'll explain. See, here's a lamp and here's another lamp, and I always put my camera on this lamp here. But it never occurred to me to put the other lamp right up touching so that it is structurally reinforced. How about that? So, on to the actual point. I'm having a bit of a story with this G96 brand. So I've got 3 G96 knives here, and I'm going to introduce them in the order of acquisition. So first came this one, which I recently built, and it's kind of still ongoing. I have to finish filling some of the cracks. They're never, the cracks will always be there and be evident, but there's some super glue there. I gotta tidy it up a bit. At the moment, I'm just loading this handle up with oil, lilac wood. Every day I put more oil in it, and it just soaks it up. So that was finished at like a 150 grit, and it's already very smooth. But later I'll start going up the grits, and eventually I will probably even try taking this to a buffing wheel and getting a glassy polish on it. At which point it should be quite nice, but it's already just very comfortable, the handle. I found another one of these, an actual knife. This is the Titan. This is the G96 Titan Skinner. Getting my order jumbled up here. What am I trying to say? This blade came as a blank. I think I got it on ePrag about maybe a year and a half ago or something. I just had it sat in a drawer. And I started whittling this handle, and so I kind of combined the two, as it were. And I used this fat carbon. It's like a shredded fat carbon for the bolster there. And I sharpened the knife. And boy, did that take a long time. It was quite thick. And as you can see, I've kind of backed the bevels up as much as I was able, pretty much. I put electrician's tape on the shoulders here so I wouldn't scratch them up, trying to go as low as possible and kind of convex that out. And I'm sure it can still get sharper, but it is pretty sharp now. Pretty sharp knife. The handle works well in all positions, and you can obviously choke up to here. That's pretty comfortable as well. I did some reading online about the steel. I asked Google what Google thought the steel might be, and the AI there got involved and speculated that it was probably 440A or maybe OR6, but maybe they used, now I'm blanking, ATS-34 on some of the higher end models. I'm like, wow, that's interesting, but I guess this would probably be the 440A or whatever. Anyway, whatever it is hard. Hard. And I found testimonials from people on Reddit or Blade forums or wherever it was speaking about these knives, and you get the gist of it. What they were saying was that, these were kind of was an American company that I guess did ammunition or something to do with firearms or whatever, and they did knives for a period there in the 70s and 80s. Had them made in Japan, and to start out they were pretty okay, and then later, towards the end there, they kept upping the quality, so that in the end they were considered like a buck killer, I guess. They're going after buck. This is a lot like the buck skinner. I saw one in the store the other day. I like this blade better. It's bigger than the buck, but it's the same kind of shape. But man, this blade is awesome. And incidentally, that screw is from a Kydex sheath. So this was threaded down the end there, and I didn't know how I was going to find the right threaded item, but lo and behold, I had it kicking around. Just whittle something quickly while I'm gathering my thoughts here. Yeah, so somebody said online that they thought that these knives were all ATS-34. So I guess it's not really known what the steel is, but that would be interesting. And I guess I could even get one of these blades tested. Oh yeah, what I was saying, I found another one of these Titan skinners, complete with the handle and everything, on eBay, and that is on the way. Because I thought, I'm going to get a few of these knives. I'm interested. So everyone says that the steel is really good, but the fit and finish was not as good as buck. Or not everybody said, but people were saying that kind of thing. That's kind of the impression that I was getting. Was that these are interesting knives, collectible, vintage. I guess Jet Air Corp still exists maybe, but they stopped doing knives. So anyway, second knife that I got a hold of, and yes, the name of this particular knife did influence me, the knife maker's choice. I mean, it kind of it's a cherry on top, as it were. So we got to check this thing out. And there are a few of these available on eBay, from what I saw, with this Scrimshaw lock back. This blade is beautiful. Oops. Okay. We do get a rattle when I bang. Knife maker's choice. Now, I think we're on a used factory edge here. And it is, probably a piece of paper or something somewhere. Yeah, probably. Not great. Needs a touch up. But very nicely thinned flat grind. I was disappointed to discover that there is some blade play side to side, but also a little bit in this direction. However, I did also have a little whittle with the knife, and it wasn't really noticeable in use. So there you go. Fantastic, and the sheath is really good quality as well. Nice belt sheath. And then today arrived in a box. I left the box behind. Nice kind of presentation, black presentation case with a little bronze plaque on top for you could engrave on. Won't show the box, but that's what it was like. This thing, this beast. I regretfully do not recall what it is called, but if I remember to do so, I'll put the name of it somewhere. Anyway, I guess it's the 3000. Yeah, 70s and 80s. Kind of ahead of their time, I reckon, stylistically there. 96 was like looking to the future. Yeah. But this is really a blast from the past. What a knife. Yes, found this on Arizona Custom Knife Company. And I saw it and I said, well, that's just coming with me. Rust proof. Interesting. Now, I took this outside not long after receipt and chopped on some oak. Oh, I should mention, because of the edges, the story with the edges. Now, I got this out and this is very nicely done. This kind of looks like what I ended up with. You know when you have a hollow grind and you go like this and you can feel that the hollow goes in and back out again before you hit the bevel? That was kind of that feeling, the big fat old shoulders on there. Really a good for nothing grind by my lights this came with. But I'm not surprised, because here's the thing, right? Yes, I was chopping on the oak, and after a few chops, which the blade did fine, after a few chops, these little scales came loose. One, and then next chop, the other. So, right, fit and finish issues. I can, of course, obviously accept full responsibility for the fit and finish issues of the handle here. Big massive cracks all over it. And the finish on the blade was sublime, except for the thickness of it. And the edge was, so-so, very so-so, perfunctory. However, this being a blade blank, maybe this would have come out of the factory different. We'll see when I get the original one with handle and what have you. Fit and finish on this, I mean, looks absolutely fantastic, I think. It's not, not looking perfect either, but it's looking good. However, yeah, a little bit of play. And then this. But this is a fun project. What can I tell you? The minute it happened, I'm already thinking, well, now what do I get to do? Should I put my own scales on here or something? But I don't think so. I think I got to keep these scales. However, since it's being me and I will unlikely remove these pins without doing any damage whatsoever. It would make sense to widen the holes and put larger diameter pins in, and then I could maybe use mosaic pins and put some red liners in, which will help this to adhere and also pump that out. And finally, you may have noticed this is all very square, and that looks very cool, and it's not uncomfortable. You know, in this grip, for example, it actually feels great. But here already, the guard feels like it's cramping my style, you know. And then here, that is also excellent, choked up like that, and not much of a problem really with the guard. But in my opinion, a guard should not be like that. It should taper in. It needs to taper in here. Then you can hold it in all kinds of ways, and it doesn't get in the way as much, doesn't jab you as much. It all needs to be rounded out. And this could do with some chamfering. And down here, I don't really have any complaints. I mean, it is a bit skinny, that pommel, but yeah, I quite like it. No lanyard hole, obviously, but you know, that could be something could be done. So G96 knives, tentatively, I feel that I can recommend if you like sharpening really hard steel. And of course, I don't know, well, let me grab my file testing. Just a second. Because what I was going to say, obviously this is not going to be the hardest steel out there. However, the old traditional stainless steels, you know, I think they kind of have a reputation for being hard to sharpen for a reason. Because it's not just about how hard it is, it's about how resilient it is to abrasion. So let's try this one. On here. Yeah, that is skating, absolutely skating. Except when I banged it on the edge there, then it grinded a bit. So let's try this one. My friends, that is skating. Oh, again, habitual viewers of my channel may be familiar. I have some doubts about the, well, I mean, it's not a very precise thing anyway, is it? The file testing kit. But it's giving you a ballpark result. And certainly this will scratch a lot of knives. This will scratch it up. This 65, which I think means that it'll start scratching between, you know, when it hits 64 to 66 is maybe, well, I do this every time. I don't know. I don't really know what it means. But that's the hardest one, right? I don't have harder than that. I don't really want to scratch this, but yeah, that is skating. So interesting. What's the story, you know? Because let's say that the knife division in Jet Air Corp were kind of knife people, right? You'd think maybe they were, because they came out with these lovely knives, sent off to Japan. I think they sent off to Japan and had them made. Everything first class, except they rushed them a bit, you know? They didn't give them all the time to make them perfect. And, you know, not perfect, but, you know, no blade play, no scale play, and maybe ground a bit thinner or whatever. But I think if you're a knife kind of person, knife people know knife people, and knife people know this. And I think that there is this, it's not like an original thought really, but there's an awareness that if you sell someone a knife and they're really into knives, they're going to know how to sharpen it. So maybe one of the corners that you cut is in the final grind there. You don't blow a load on the final grind of time and abrasives and stuff because you think, well, either this is going to be in the collection of a collector who's never going to use it, or it's going to be in the collection of a user who's sooner or later they're going to want to sharpen it and put their edge on it, maybe their edge geometry and all that stuff anyway. So great knives for me and users, all three. And these two have been on my belt on the right hand side, and this one I'll need a sheath. It's not really kind of an EDC proposal, even so much as these two, I would say, because this one for the woods, you can do a lot with this, and I will. I don't think we've seen the last of any of these knives on this channel, and this is really my bag as well. Maybe I like a saber grind. I like the convex. This is very thin and flat, but given I know how hard the steel is, I don't think we're going to have a lot of issues with the thinness, with deflection or what have you. It's just, again, it's going to be, it's going to take a minute to sharpen. G96 knives. Bonus round. I'm making all kinds of silly little projects at the moment. I just keep coming up with new ones, and I don't finish them as quickly as I come up with them. Anyway, this is a utility tanto that I'm making. I had just a kind of a cleaver, Taiwanese made cleaver from the thrift store there, and it had the thing with I still have that, actually, the piece I cut off here with the hole in it. I made a kind of a little knife type thing out of that as well, and this is quite promising. It's still too thick, for a kitchen knife, but for a camp knife, a bit of a do-it-all kind of thing. I mean, I reckon you could baton with this and whatever you like, even though it's pretty thin. But, yeah, man, I spent ages grinding on this. It just didn't. Ye old stainless. Anywho, just want to put a chunky handle on that, make a piece of tat, I burned it. And here's something that I'm going to be doing pretty soon. This is from the back catalog there. Started this, I don't know, half a year ago or something. Patrick Gerst sent me this Beavercraft blade blank. He wanted a handle for it, and that's as far as I've gotten. So what I did was that's where I stalled, because I needed a little extra oomph to work with carbon fiber because of all the dust and all that stuff. I got it done on this one though. It's a little shredded. Yeah. That broke at the end there, but it's not. It doesn't matter that it broke anyway. You see the notion. It's a little dowel. Fit that in there. That goes in there with a bolster. Whoops, wrong way around. Bub's your uncle. Now, what's to stop it from spinning around? Well, epoxy. I don't think it's going to be used for heavy duty stuff. Should be quite cute. It's got a lot of voids to fill. Thanks for watching.